Good afternoon. Welcome to the second afternoon of Brent Connexions Branching Out, the virtual transition event for those young people in Brent within EHCP. This 3-day event will be recorded and added to our YouTube channel. So each day we start with general introduction and then we talk about the themes of the day. Yesterday, our first day of our 3 days was education. Second day today is the transition process, social care and support. And then third day tomorrow is employability and lifelong learning. My name is Jane Porteous and I'm one of the SEND team for Brent Connexions. Behind the scenes, we have Dean Hatfield, he's the service manager for Brent Connexions, and Tony Ingham, who's working all his magic with the IT. We have 4 relevant organisations and speakers joining us on each day. And we would ask that near the end of their session, if you would like to put in some questions and answers into the chat, that would be great. In previous years, this event has been held in Brent Civic Centre, face-to-face and well attended and positive feedback. We had upwards of 20 stalls and smaller breakout rooms, and we're trying to replicate this, but virtually. With the best will in the world, I did not see that we would manage 6 hours, which is how long it could take if you were at branching out in reality in the Civic. So hence we split it into 3 days of 2. As some of you may be aware, Brent Connexions was based in the Roundwood Youth Centre until March 2020. And then when COVID struck, we had to move our delivery from face-to-face to virtual. In the interim period, we really had to change delivery, but it all went very well. And now we are back face-to-face in our different hubs throughout the borough and also in rooms in the College of North West London. I would like to point out that even if we are in the college, then all the work that we do with you would always be impartial. So Brent Connexions, we meet with our clients, parents and carers, as well as relevant professionals in any of the boroughs. We would ask that you make an appointment. While we are a drop-in centre, it's better to have an appointment. Then we know we have a set amount of time that we can dedicate to you and your young people. The transition process for those with an EHCP is long, and if we can start as soon as possible, then that is the way ahead. If you're wondering when you should be starting your transition, then if we're going to be honest, the fact that you're here today would mean that that process has begun. While yesterday we had our colleges, that was mainly education from a college slant. Our other 2 days are going to be looking, as I've said, at different provision. From the September of your young person leaving school or sixth form, they would come under the umbrella of the Brent NEAT team. It doesn't mean we're all neat and tidy, it's NEET, and that stands for Not in Employment, Education or Training. You may not have met with the NEAT team before, and it could be that you had contact with the Connexions Brent Career Service through school and the SENCO, but the NEAT team is there when you have left the school provision and perhaps are still not sure what you're moving on to. It would be a case of if they move to college, then they would be under the careers of that college. Today's talks are going to be from relevant providers looking at the transition process, social care and support. We'll be starting with the Brent Community Learning, Disability Health and Social Care Service. and from then we're moving on to SENDIASS. Now I've written all this out, there's too many initials for me. So SENDIASS is the Special Education Needs and Disabilities Information, Advice and Support Service. What a mouthful, and what a long badge you'd have to have all that. After SENDIASS, we have SENAS, and that's a Special Education Needs Assessment Service. We are finishing off with the Inclusion project, but unfortunately they'll be unable to join us, but they have given us slides that we can go through. So let's just recap. Quick introduction from me. Brent Community Learning, Disability Health Social Care Service. Brent SENDIASS. Brent SENAS. And then we're having a little from the Inclusion project. We intend to be having the talks for 20 minutes and then 5 minutes of questions and answers at the end. Please feel free to join your questions into the chat. If you're not sure about that, then always give us a call on our Brent Connexions main number, and that's 020 8438 1650. We are also, of course, available through other social media, so you can check us on our Facebook page, Instagram or Twitter. The information that we will be discussing today is only from a small selection of providers, and I would ask you to absolutely check out these two Brent websites. So here we have the Brent Local Offer, followed by the Brent Youth Zone, and especially in both the Preparing for Adulthood sections. If this is all just too much IT, too many links, you're not sure what to look for, just always look for either Brent Connexions and find us that way, or you could go on and Google the Brent Local Offer and all that information would be there. In the past, we have had other speakers which were very well received, and I'd just like to name Francesca from the Arts Depot, and Gail spoke to us from St Joseph's. And if you would like more information from these two, please give us a call on our numbers that we've said before. So it's 020, and we're jumping ahead without being asked to. Okay, so 020 8438 1650. This is what we offer from Brent Connexions. So we offer advice, guidance and employability support for all young people living in Brent, 16 to 19. But those that would have an EHCP, then we can work with them up to the age of 24. And we can help with whatever it is you as a parent or carer or a young person would like information on. We had hoped to have a short input today from one of our young people, but I'm pleased to say he was unable to join us because he's found employment. Now the best reason ever for not being able to join us, so we were sorry not to have him, but pleased that he had moved on to full-time permanent employment. We're going to be looking at mainly today Brent services, and we as Brent Connexions do work very closely with the departments that you're going to be seeing today. Sometimes our parents are a little bit anxious working with others, and if they would like us to help and support and perhaps be there with them, either to arrange the meetings or actually to accompany them, then we can do that. As I've said, that we're dotted in different places throughout the borough. So you'll find us in some wellbeing centres, in libraries, in hubs, and the main office being the Brent Connexions office in Clutton North West London. But again, that's our number if you want to give us a call for anything else that you would like confirmation on. I've mentioned before that all the work we do is impartial, so we would never recommend one over the other. We would always say to you, sorry, my screen's just died. We would always say to you that it would be a case of doing your research, making sure that you know all your options and taking it from there. It is never too early to start all this. Absolutely find out as much as you can. Visit as many as you can. I was saying yesterday, as far as college was concerned, absolutely visit the college, make it official, try and get there on the open days as well. But the more information that you can find is going to make it easier for you and your young person. Less stressful, because hopefully we have started the ball rolling early and we can move on with that. Just one other thing I would say, if you had missed college yesterday, that is just one of the many different ways of future learning that our young people can look at, which could be full-time college. We'll be discussing more of that tomorrow. But there is the full range on offer for anyone with an EHCP. So it could be looking at the mainstream courses. It could be looking at courses that have got extra support. Everything is there for you to make the decisions. Always check out the local offer, the Brent local offer, and just see what is on offer, as it says on the tin. It's all there. But absolutely contact them and use that service. We're working from home sometimes, we are face-to-face sometimes. If we're starting anything, I would say as perhaps a more gentle start, then always do everything virtually. And then once you're a little bit more familiar, your young person's a little bit more familiar, then we can start involving more face-to-face. As the advisor who had been in Woodfield in the past, I know that we can help and support parents both in school but also once they've moved on, and sometimes it can be rather daunting. You can think there is just so much on offer, I'm really not sure which way I'm going to be moving on. So take your time. There is never a silly question. If it's occurred to you as a parent carer, then we can assure you that it's occurred to others. So please always ask. The EHCP, Education Healthcare Plan, is such an important document that you do want to understand everything and everything that's going to be happening from things written in there. EHCP is the stepping stone, if you like, in a way, to moving on to everything else. That's nearly the end of my time. I will join you again at the end and say thank you and give out my numbers again. But I'd now like to move on to Evelyn. And Evelyn's joining us from Brent Community Learning, Disability Health and Social Care Services. Evelyn, are you able to share your screen and join with us?
Good afternoon. Yes, I am.
Thank you. We're making this as seamless as we can, but virtually we may always have a little blip time-wise. If you could share your screen, Evelyn. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Evelyn Amadoda and I manage the Brent Learning Disabilities team. The service is both health and social care. So we have people from different disciplines, professional groups, social workers and social care workers and health staff. So the colleagues in the team are either employed by Brent Council or Central Northwest London NHS Foundation Trust. So we provide services to adults with learning disability in Brent. To use the service, you will need to be age 18 or over and have a diagnosis of a learning disability. The criteria for social care is that you need to be a Brent resident. To have access to the health service, you need to have a Brent GP. So the criteria for accessing health and social care is slightly different. Here we can see the different disciplines within the team. We have a loss and bereavement therapist who we'll talk about in the next slide as to what the therapist does. We have occupational therapist, physiotherapist, speech and language therapist, psychiatry. So those are doctors who specialise with working with people with learning disabilities. We have social workers, psychologists. We also have psychologists who help when sometimes, because of feelings that may be difficult, we need support around behaviour input. And we have nurses who specialise with working with people with learning disabilities. So psychiatry. So a psychiatrist is a doctor who works with people with learning disability and also who may have a mental illness. Referrals received for any aspect of the health service is through your Brent GP. Sometimes a psychiatrist can offer medication, tablets, to help with mental illness. When people are poorly, they may go to the hospital to get well, and that may be because of physical health problems or problems with our mental health. The community nurses can help you to access GPs, medical appointments, and also explain further around medications that you might be prescribed for mental illness. They can also help you with having a better understanding around your epilepsy. They can do this either at your home or at our offices at Kingswood Centre. They also offer help to help you to remain healthy, and they can complete a health action plan after they have worked with you. So that will be a support plan around maintaining your health. The psychology and behavioural services. So what they can do first is to see if you have a learning disabilities, because sometimes people get this confused. Even our GPs get it confused. If you do, then the team can support you. If you do not, we will help you and signpost you as to where you might receive support. We can help you to understand your feelings, relationships when they are difficult. We can also help you when something goes wrong in your life. We can help when someone has hurt you or you want to hurt yourself. A specific way that the psychologist can help is with a therapeutic input called cognitive behavioural therapy. and this can help you to cope with life when you feel anxious, sad, angry, or stressed. Psychologists can also help you if you have difficulties with those you live with, or you have difficulties at work, college, or at your day centre, or whatever you're doing during the day. If you have behaviour which is difficult, our psychologists and behavioural services can also help you, your family, and carers. Our loss and bereavement therapist can support you when you lose someone close to you and you feel grief because of your loss. This can make you feel angry, withdrawn, not participating in activities that you normally would, or feeling confused. It may also lead to you feeling sad. Talking about these feelings can help you to understand them and also allow you to get back to how you felt before your bereavement. Loss and bereavement therapy can take some time, but the therapist is here to support you. Physiotherapy. So we have a physiotherapist within the service, and they can help you if you have physical difficulties. They can help to improve your movement. They can help with asking you to undertake exercises or to take you to hydrotherapy, which is exercise in the water, such as a swimming pool. They can also help you if you have had a fall, so you can regain your ability to walk or to use your body as you previously did. They can also help you with breathing. Our speech and language therapist can help you if you have problems with eating or drinking. They can help you to have food and drink that's easier for you to swallow. So they can advise on the best ways also to communicate. If it's easier for you to use pictures, objects, or signing, they can teach others so that you can easily communicate with them and they can understand you. Our occupational therapist can help you with everyday things that you may find difficult. They can look at how you do things and they can give equipment or advice to help you with everyday activities. They can also give advice on how to get out in the community. They can give advice and help around special seats. They can help you to get in touch and with the wheelchair service. The social care part of the team. To access this, you need to live in Brent. They can provide advice and information to keep you safe, to keep you where you want to be, which is often at home. They can also help if you need specialist housing. They can help to signpost you to access jobs and also additional learning. They can also support if you need help during the day. And if you need help and qualify for help under social care, they can give you money so that you can buy that support. And that money is called direct payments. The service, which is Mondays to Fridays. We are based at the Kingswood Centre, which is in the Kingsbury area of Brent. Our telephone number is 0208 238 0900. So if you have problems understanding or speaking English, please let us know. We can arrange for someone who speaks your language to come to your appointment with you. And so I would welcome any questions around the service.
Thank you, Evelyn. Something that's just come in, and this, it says, I can't need, oh, you're typed in here, something I can. If not yet 18, how could you help me? That was your very first, one of your first slides, wasn't it? You're talking about the age. So if someone hasn't yet turned 18, could you help them? Would you signpost them?
We would certainly do, but what I would say is most people who have a learning disabilities in Brent actually do not come to our service. And I think that that's a really good thing, because that's telling me that they're able to get on with their life and have jobs, live in the homes that they like, and go about their everyday business as we all do. And that is a success. We work with people who have needs that cannot be met outside of the learning disability service. So if you are under 18 and you have a learning disability and you have an EHCP plan, then I would ask you to speak with your workers that are involved with that service. Not that I'm doing myself out of a job, but we really only work with those people who can't access the services that everybody else accesses because they need a lot of adjustments. Part of the work that we do in the team is to train GPs, general practitioners, so that they offer reasonable adjustments. And this is a good opportunity to let you know that if your loved one who has a learning disability is going to a GP, you can ask for a double appointment so they have enough time to explain what they want to the GP, whatever the difficulty is. Equally, they could ask for the first 2 appointments or the last 2 appointments so that they're not having to wait too long to see the GP. And that is something that GPs in Brent are well aware of. So I hope I've answered the question. If you're under 18, you can contact us and we will signpost you to the relevant services. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. What would happen if you are a Brent resident and your GP isn't in Brent? Would you be advising people to change GPs in order to access all of the services? What would you recommend?
we tend not to recommend people change their GPs because people tend to have very good relationships and long-standing relationships with their GPs. So if you have a GP that's not in Brent, but you live in Brent, that is fine. We work very closely with learning disability services in the 6 boroughs that neighbour Brent, which are Kensington, Chelsea, Westminster, Camden, Ealing, Harrow, and Barnet. So
well done. Thank you for not asking me to name those straight away. I'd have been having a bit of a struggle there, but yeah, Barnet would be the final one. Yeah.
So what that would mean is that you would be able to access social care if you lived in Brent, but you would access the learning disability health team from whichever GP, whichever area your GP came from. So if it came from Barnet, you would access the learning disability health team, which is fantastic in Barnet. So that's not a problem. And we talk to each other, so we are able to provide holistic care that meets your needs. Thank you.
I think that talking to each other, whether it's the professionals or whether it's the individual, that's what brings it all together, isn't it? That's what makes all the difference. Not having to sit down in front of somebody and start the story all over again from the beginning. If you're feeling a little fragile, shall we say, for whatever reason, for someone just to be able to sort of pick up the reins and move on from there, and not for you to go back to the beginning when you just wonder, what am I doing here? You mentioned the loss and bereavement therapy. I'm wondering if there's a waiting list for this service at the moment.
There is absolutely a waiting list, and part of that is that we've come through, and we're still experiencing a pandemic associated with COVID-19. Sadly, some people with learning disabilities have lost their lives or lost people who are close to them. And our loss and bereavement therapists can work with these individuals so that they can better understand a world without the loved person that they have lost. As I said earlier on, if somebody doesn't need the loss and bereavement therapist from a learning disability team, actually there are very good organisations nationally, such as CRUISE, that we can access. And that is the importance of, just because you've got a learning disability doesn't mean you need to have services from a learning disability service, because you have a right like anybody else. And this is in the law around the Equalities Act, that organisations, services such as GPs, hospitals, schools need to put reasonable adjustments so that you can access their services.
Absolutely.
What I would say is, where somebody has significant needs and we feel that actually we are the best service to provide the loss and bereavement therapy, we will assess how urgent their need is, and they may be put to the top of the queue because of their need. And so we work on the basis of the urgency and the nature of the need to prioritise those we see first.
I think that's just so reassuring that it isn't just here's your number, you're back of the queue, but it's actually some sense within that, should we say? Maybe I shouldn't have that recording. That seems much more sensible to me than just being in the queue in case things go so awry in the meantime. Someone's asking here, how long does it take to complete the health action plan? And says, how would it help my son?
Okay, so the health action plan, actually, this is an opportunity for me to plug something that the audience may not know, and it's so important. Sadly, what we know is people with learning disabilities die on average 20 years before other members of the population. And so, unlike any other group, from the age of 14, that's 1/4. If you have a learning disabilities, you have the right to have an annual health check by your GP. And the reason for this is that your GP can monitor and assess if there are any
Sorry, Evelyn, we've lost your sound for a moment or two there.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, thank you. Yeah, we lost you for a moment or two.
My apologies. So I'll just say, start from the GP offers, has to offer, and they have agreed, if you're having problems with a GP, either knowing their obligation to offer an annual health check, please refer to your local clinical commissioning group. That's your local CCG, because they have all agreed to offer the annual health check, and this is to screen for health conditions so that we know once those health conditions are identified earlier on, that gives a better chance of helping you with those health conditions. When it's much later, often it's very difficult for doctors to help you to gain full health. So that when a doctor, your GP, undertakes an annual health check, so that's from the age of 14, and it doesn't end. So that's at least once a year. Then, if there are conditions that the doctor has picked up, they should formulate a health plan, which is the way that they are going to work with you to address the health condition. With our nurses, when our nurses are working with residents and they have picked up health conditions, they too will, with the individual and their circle of support, devise a health action plan, which is, it might include working with a social worker so that the care package includes you and going out and exercising. What we know in Brent, which is excellent, most of the parks have gyms. So that's something that's free to every resident in Brent to access the gyms outside. It's better in the summer, I suspect, when the weather's a bit warmer.
Better than a bit chilly now. Thank you, Ethan. That was very comprehensive. I was making notes madly here. There's a few things I didn't know there, and certainly this from age of 14 the annual health checks. That was new to me, so I will keep that in mind for future. You're very welcome to stay with us, but I know how busy you are. I certainly also love the fact that you would like everyone to not come to you, because you'd rather be out of job than have the call on your services, and we quite understand that. And in Brent Connexions, if everyone was working, which would be a lovely idea, then perhaps we wouldn't. So quite understand that, but I suspect we'll be here for a while longer. Could I ask that we could share the SENDIASS presentation? And a huge thank you, Evelyn. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
Not at all. Thank you.
Hi, Jane. I think Tracy sent it to you. Could you share it with us, and I'll go through with it if you want, or
Okay.
I don't know how you want to do it, but yeah.
We were expecting to do the video and then you just come in at the end, Mina.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah, that'll
be okay. So that's up to my colleagues Dean and Tony. I have no idea how that would happen. That is just absolutely beyond me. So we're just fiddling behind the scenes, if you like, to get that up and running. So we have a video that's been sent from Tracy. So Tracy will explain this huge title of the department. So this is SENDIASS, so Special Education Needs and Disabilities Information, Advice and Support Service. And then when we have got to the end of the presentation and the video, then her colleague Mina, who you heard a few moments ago, Mina is here to answer any questions. Let's just see where we are with everything. Here she is. Here's Tracy. Okay, thank you. Let's watch what she has to say, and then we'll call you in at the end, Mina. Okay.
That's lovely. Thank you. Tracy, I think you're on mute.
Hi everyone, my name is Tracy Matthew and I work for the Brent Special Educational Needs and Disabilities Information, Advice and Support Service. It's a long title and we also go by the name SENDIASS. Today I'm going to talk about our service and how we support children and young people with special educational needs and disabilities and their parents or carers. I will talk about my role as a participation worker and provide examples of how I have supported young people and their parents or carers, as well as share feedback about our service. As a service, we offer, as our name suggests, information, advice and support about education, health and social care issues. There are 4 members of our team. We all work part-time. Catherine is the team manager, Mina and Sharon are the SENDIASS officers, and I am the participation worker. Our service is for children and young people aged between 0 and 25 who need extra help with their learning more than others of the same age. Those who are disabled and need extra help with their learning more than others of the same age, and those who have an education, health and care plan known as the EHCP. These groups of children and young people are known as having special educational needs and disabilities. And we also support parents and carers of these groups of children and young people. We will support children and young people who live in Brent and attend school, college, training or other setting in Brent or in other boroughs. We will work directly with parents and carers of young people aged 16 to 25. I'll start again. We will work with parents and carers or young people aged 16 to 25. So just to briefly explain what we mean by special educational needs. These are children and young people who need extra help, known as special educational provision, more than others of their same age. And these are children and young people who need help with their communication or learning, those who have a social or emotional need, a mental health difficulty, or have a sensory or physical need. And this is stated in the SEND and Disability Code of Practice 2015. Furthermore, a disability is when a child or young person has a physical, learning, or mental impairment that has a substantial and long-term negative effect on their ability to do normal daily tasks, as stated in the Equality Act 2010. Now, substantial, for example, this means it takes longer than usual to complete a daily task, like getting dressed, and long-term means it lasts for 12 months or more. So back to SENDIASS. So we are a self-referring service, and parents, carers, and young people can contact us directly for support. We are an impartial service. This means we won't take sides and will offer honest, fair, and clear information and advice. We are a confidential service, which means that everything we talk about in our meetings will be kept private and confidential, and we will not share your information with other people outside the service without your permission. We offer support in different ways. For example, we have a confidential helpline, and if we are unable to answer your call, we have a 24-hour Hotmail voicemail service, and someone will get back to you very, very soon. You will have your own caseworker supporting you, and we will be able to signpost you to relevant statutory and voluntary services and make referrals if needed. We will speak to other educational settings on your behalf, like nurseries, schools, colleges, universities, and other training settings. We can support you at meetings like annual reviews, team around the family, also known as TAF meetings, and other multi-agency meetings. We give advice about school or college placements or other placements like day centres. We can help with your paperwork, as we understand how confusing it can sometimes be, especially if you have an English language difficulty or if you need help with simplifying or breaking down the information. We can offer you support with challenging decisions around education, health and social care, and help you understand the appeal process if needed. We offer support with education, health and care plan process. This includes requesting an education health care assessment of needs if you feel more support is needed. We will help make sure your views are included both from parents and carers and from young people, as your views are very important. We can go through the draft education, health and care plan for you, and we can support you at annual review meetings and help you challenge decisions if you do not agree with them. Before we can offer any information, advice and support, we will listen to your concerns. My role as a SENDIASS participation worker. So I support young people aged 16 to 25 and their parents or carers. And I have already mentioned examples of the support we offer. So here are some more examples. So I can offer one-to-one support and caseworking duties, signposting to other services for specialist support like benefits and mental health support. I can support you at meetings like annual reviews. I can also speak to schools, colleges, universities and other training settings about the things you are unhappy with or worried about or what you feel is not working well. I can help you understand the education and healthcare plan process, including supporting you with requesting an education and healthcare assessment of needs. I can help you understand your paperwork and support you with challenging decisions and understanding the appeals process. I can also help you think about your options for preparing for adulthood and direct you to the right services. How have I supported young people? I have supported young people with getting their views across about their needs and the support they want in colleges and universities. This involved having one-to-one meetings with young people to find out what is working well, what is not working well, and speaking to colleges and universities about their concerns and making sure that the support for them is the right support. And they are happy with it. I also supported young people and their parents with getting social care support by explaining the process and what social care does. I supported them with self-referrals, showing them how they can ask for social care help and contact the social care on their behalf. I've also offered advice about how they can request social care and health assessments. I have supported young people at different universities, and this involved speaking to different teams like wellbeing, disability and student support about the young person's needs and to ensure that they have the correct support in place. I've helped young people with asking for diagnostic assessment and with understanding these assessment reports, as well as ensuring that the support plan covers all of their needs and is right for them. As a service, we are planning to extend our offer to young people to include group sessions such as virtual and face-to-face drop-in sessions where young people can receive advice, information and support and ask any questions about education, social care and health needs, and also preparing for the future. We're also going to be doing participation groups, which will be a great opportunity for young people to connect with others and to be part of shaping local services and supports. What have parents, carers and young people said about Brent SENDIASS? Your service is perfectly normal and fine. You respond when you need to, and for the details and explain the complex stuff, you break it down and make it understandable. You have helped us a lot and you have supported us a lot. You have answered questions and queries that we asked you. We are really happy. Thank you so much. I am currently a university student that requires additional support with studies. Before contacting this service, I was struggling with change from college to university and felt very overwhelmed by this. From contacting this service, I am able to receive support for my academic studies. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions or need further support, please email us at sendias@brent.gov.uk, or you can call us on 0208 937 3434. Now next you'll view a video about our service curated by the Council for Disabled Children. This also contains some useful information and signposting services. Thank you. Bye-bye.
The Children and Families Act 2014 includes a duty for each local authority to provide an information, advice and support service to support children, young people and parents on matters relating to a child or young person's special educational needs or disability from birth to 25 years. Operating at arm's length from the local authority, the service offer is free, confidential and impartial, and provided through a direct telephone helpline, website, email, or face-to-face by appointment. The service is an all-year-round flexible service open during normal office hours. If you cannot get through to the service, there should be a 24-hour answer machine with a callback and signposting service. Whatever the concern or level of need, your local friendly and flexible service will often offer a listening ear, access to resources, regular e-bulletins, information, events, and provide the opportunity to meet others in a similar situation. They will also help and support you to navigate the local offer. All services across England are underpinned by a set of minimum standards which are endorsed by the Department for Education and the Department of Health and Social Care. The standards are based on the requirements as set out in the Children and Families Act 2014, the SEND Code of Practice, and on additional legal advice commissioned by the Information, Advice and Support Service Network. A copy of the standards is available on request from your local service. How can the Information, Advice and Support Service help you? Your local skilled and supportive service team would have completed high-quality training on a range of topics, including SEND advisors legal training and practical skills training. The team are equipped to offer information, advice and support about education, health and social care matters, annual reviews and relevant law, support available in schools, early years and post-16 settings, funding arrangements, how needs are identified and met, representation at SEND tribunals, exclusion from school. Based on your circumstances, your local service can also offer individual support, which may include support at and preparing for meetings, help to understand and complete paperwork, help to participate in discussions and decision-making, liaising with other services and organisations, looking at positive outcomes. Your local service will also be able to provide advocacy support for individual children, young people and parents, as well as empowering all to express their views and wishes, as well as to help with understanding and exercising their rights. How can you find your local information, advice and support service? By visiting your local offer page. Each local authority is required to have a local offer page containing relevant information and support on offer. To find your local offer page, simply write the name of your local authority followed by the term local offer into your search engine and press return. The results of the search should include a link to your local authority local offer page. By directly contacting your local information, advice and support service. To find your local information, advice and support service, simply write the name of the local authority followed by the term IASS into your internet search engine and press return. The results should include a link to your local service with information on how to contact the service team. Parents with a disabled child aged from birth to 25 looking for support can also contact the National Helpline for Parents and Carers. You can phone the helpline on 0808 808 3555 between 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Calls are free from UK landlines and UK mobiles. To find out more information and advice, please visit www.contact.org.uk. Parents looking for legal advice can also contact the Independent Provider of Special Education Advice, who provide free and independent, legally based information, advice and casework support. To find out more information and advice, please visit www.ipsi.org.uk. For further information and details of all local information, advice and support services, please visit www.councilfordisabledchildren.org.uk.
Thank you for that. A huge thanks to Tracy for all that. Do we have Mina and Catherine with us?
Hi, Jane. Yes, I'm here.
Lovely, thanks, Mina. Good to see you again. It's been a while. Mina, you've already begun to answer questions even before you came on screen. So thank you for that in the chat there. What I had said before when we were speaking with Evelyn, I was asking her of what would happen if someone was not yet 18, and Mina popped up in the chat and said that under 18 can get help from Brent SENDIASS. Could you give us a little bit more information about that, please, Mina?
Yeah, so as Tracy, my colleague, just explained in the presentation just now, SENDIASS caseworkers, we work with children from 0 to 25, so all the way through. As long as they've got a special need, or parents think that they may have a special need, so that's important as well. They don't need to be diagnosed. We will, if they contact our service or somebody refers to, parents to us or carers to us, or young people can refer themselves to us, we will support the persons.
Lovely. And someone said that they didn't know that, or didn't realise that you could help them attend an annual review in school. They're wondering how they would go about that. It says here, would they have to ask the school to arrange it? Just what would they do from there?
Right. So we are a small service, and as if we can, we will be there attending the annual review with them. But sometimes I think, what we have to do with the logistics, if we are already having other appointments, what we will do is we will prepare the parents before, or the young person before, the annual review meeting. So I've done that a couple of times now where I couldn't attend the meeting. I will actually sit, have a telephone conversation or a Teams or a Zoom conversation with the parent and make sure that we go address their concerns, listen to what their main concerns are, make sure that their views, what are their views towards the annual review, go through the process with them, make sure they understand what's, that it's very important for them to attend, to make sure that their views are heard, make sure that they understand that the EHCP, if it needs to go through it, and if there needs to be changes in it, they will go and do that at the annual review, because this is the one chance that the parent or the young person will have from the whole year that to review that and that EHCP. So what kind of support your child has been getting? What are the things that are working? What are the things that they still find challenging? Do they need to review certain things? So this is their moment, their opportunity to really have a good discussion with the SENCO person and the teacher and other professionals who can attend and, really give their views.
I think it gives so much confidence to the parent to go forward with that, and great if you can be there. But there's so few of you and so many that would like the help. So the fact that you can, bolster their confidence by a pre-meeting or whatever, that sounds great.
And sorry, I didn't answer the last bit of your question. So how they can contact us? They can ask their the schools, because all the schools have got our leaflets and they should be aware of us, and they can ask us to ring us or refer the parent or the young person to us. However, parents can directly come to us as well, and the young person can directly ring us. You've got our information, and I've just come from another school just now, and where I did a presentation. So we go out into the community. We're going to the children's hubs. We're going to the schools. We're going to the children's centres and places like that. We also get referrals from, if a parent or a young person has already got another professional working with them, they can refer us. So if you're working with Boat, if you're working with Evelyn, social care, all of those professionals are aware of us. We're all aware of each other. And, like I will signpost to social care if a parent or a young person needs help. The same will happen vice versa.
You're saying all the things that I would be thinking I need to say in my sort of closing statements of, do these departments work together? Have they all heard of everybody? And it's so reassuring to know that no one so far has said no, and who's this and why is that? So that's just perfect. I would just like to say how refreshing it was to hear questions about someone at university, because I don't think that parents always realise that their young people can be through the whole levels of education. So I thought that was really, really lovely and reassuring to some that if they were to make that leap, and for many, whether with an EHCP or not, having the qualifications for uni is one thing, but still being able to have the confidence to make that change, the more help and support that's in place, it's just fantastic. Something else that's just come in, it says here, if they were to be speaking to one of the three of you, really, so that would be you, Catherine, Mina, or Tracy. If you're all part-time, what would happen if they've worked with one of you? Would they have to start again at the beginning, or can you just pick everything up from where you've been?
Mm-hmm. So that's a good question. Generally speaking, when a parent engages with one of us, what happens is that we know the parent, and we don't want them to tell the story again. So we put all the information on our database. If it's a general query, I tend to just answer the question. But if it's something that's a long thing that's been going on, I would say to the parent, well, my other colleague will be there in a day or two. I'll leave a message for them to contact you, because what happens is I don't want to sort of interfere with somebody else's advice, because I might not know the whole picture in that 1 10-minute conversation with them. Like I said, if it's urgent, I can signpost, or I can say I will contact my colleague to give them a call back. So they should go back knowing that it's being handled, and their request has been heard.
Well, and that's just also reassuring as well, isn't it? I've just need to say to Simon that Simon will be joining you in a moment or two. I've written one thing down. Someone had said to me yesterday, and now I can't read my writing. How embarrassing is that? Oh, someone had asked about your confidential helpline. Yeah. But that was all there. So I think we've really answered that. So thank you to everyone for the three of you. We know that you're part-time, and it's just been great that Tracy managed to do hers and send that to me, but we had you two here as well to show that really no matter who you're speaking to, you're getting the whole of SENDIASS to support you in your moves on.
Jane, can I just add, coming from the university, just to all parents and young people out there, it is important that you do not put barriers and don't think that your child can achieve. It's really important that you are very aspirational for your children, and you help them along the way. And we as professionals are here to help you to do that. And even if they can't go to university, I mean, I've had a young person who was in a wheelchair, had speech and language difficulties, used to have a voice box, but they went on and did photography, at university. So there are ways. You just need the right people to support you and give you the right information. The other thing I would say is that there are lots of different pathways, and I'm sure you, Jane, as a Connections and careers advisor, will explain to the young people that there are different pathways. So please, what I want to leave with the message is, don't give up. If there is something that you want to do, there are people, professionals here in Brent to support you and, help you achieve your dreams. And always have a plan A, plan B, plan C, I would say. So I'm sure you say that as well, Jane, but yeah. So
absolutely.
Thank you all for listening, and thank you for facilitating this, Jane.
You're more than welcome. It's nice to see some familiar faces and some new faces. Just going on from what we've said there, because we're all working together here. See, Simon from SENAS is popping in some answers as well. So he's saying that the disabled students allowance in a way would replace the EHCP, because the EHCP would stop once they go into higher education, which leads us perfectly, Simon, into hoping that you are ready with your presentation. Thank you, Mina. Thank you, Catherine, and thank you, Tracy, wherever she is today.
Thank you. Okay, I just need to share.
Simon.
Yes.
Before you get on, hi Jane, it's Miriam from Social Care Disabled Young People Service.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I've been here, but I need to leave by 2:30, max 2:35. So I don't know how Simon is doing for time.
I'm happy if you want to go first, Miri. That's absolutely fine. I can wait if you want to go first.
Is it okay, Jane, for you?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, please.
Hi everyone, I introduce myself. My name is Miriam. I'm the Service Manager for Disabled Children and Young People Service in Brent. I will speak briefly about what we do within the time. If you have any questions or anything, put them. I'll try to answer as best as I can. And within the limited time, I do apologize for this. I'm gonna share my screen. Let me find the right one so I don't confuse you. So this, I'll talk briefly what we do.
Thank you.
This is a presentation I did for the Brent Care Forum, but I think things are relevant here as well. Can you see my screen with the presentation?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay, thank you. So what is the key legislation we work with under? This is just some of them, but it's Chronically Sick and Disabled Person Act, 1970, Children Act, Children and Families Act, Care Act, SEN Code of Practice. These are the main legislation that we work, but there's a lot more underneath these and guidance and so on. How our service is structured, or the referrals, how do they come? If your child is 0 to 17 and you need social care support, the referral will go to the Brent front door. If your child doesn't meet eligibility criteria, they will signpost you to local offer. If you need other service or any safeguarding concerns, then probably will refer you to the localities team, which is the assessment team with social workers. If you meet our criteria, then you'll be kind of referred to the 0 to 25 team. We've got two teams, one in the east and one in the west, depending on the postcode, and you'll be allocated a worker to complete an assessment. If your child or young person is 18 to 25 and has got an EHCP plan and is in education, we'll screen for eligibility criteria and then will be passed to our team, and again you'll be allocated a worker for assessment. If you're not eligible, like your child is not in education, either will signpost you or refer you to adult social care, which if your child's got LD will be Evelyn's team. If your child's got physical disabilities, will be other teams in the council. So what do we do after the referral comes in? Now, I'm not going to go through those because I'll share the presentation so you can have it, but basically what will happen if a referral comes in, there are three. One will come for safeguarding concerns. If we have any child protection safeguarding concerns, we'll follow that route. It will come for support, and that's the main kind of what we get in now. So we go for support, where we'll have a child and family assessment and a care assessment. What you need to know as part of the child and family assessment, we need to assess the needs of the children that live in the property, all the children, not just the disabled children, but also we will assess your needs as a parent carer of a disabled child. So what are your needs as well? The assessment will be quality assured by the team manager or one of the deputy team managers. And then from that, there are two options. One through that is that, yes, there are some complications. I need to have an allocated social worker where you go under the child in need plan. Or if the needs is not as complex and requires a package of support, we'll put a package support in, and then we'll go under a short break structure, short break review, which is run by social work assistants. And the role will be that your child could move between the short break and child assessment within the cycle. Once we have accepted that, and we've accepted that the family needs support, you'll continue to have a worker from our service for the duration or up to 25 if your child continues to have an education, health and care plan. We do work closely with Simon for 16 plus, and we do work closely with the inclusion service in terms of education, health and care plans. Some referrals come for OT, occupational therapy, that comes under my service as well. If your child's got a disability and may need adaptations into the property, in terms of bathroom or windows, depending on the condition of your child or your young person. There are occasions, but that's not for, there are occasions where we got safeguarding concerns, and then when we got, we'll follow down the child protection route, which is, we have child protection concerns, we have a strategy meeting where we involve all the professionals. This decision could be that, yes, there is enough, we do a section, what we call a Section 47 investigation, which is done under the Children Act. And if there continues concern, we'll go into an initial child protection conference. And then we'll have core group meetings. If there is no improvement following intervention, we do go to private law proceedings, or sometimes we do go to court. But this is the extreme end. The majority will be down the child and family assessment, child in need. Because when I talk about the looked after children investigation, this is the extreme end. But it's not something that, it's not out there. Let's say the family, the social worker assessed and needs a package of support, then they'll present to the resource allocation panel. Once he agreed in the panel, we got commission service for the package to be commissioned. Okay.
Thank you for that.
If your child is 18 to 25, again, the 3 ways we'll get is the referral will come in, we'll do the contact initial assessment, we'll do a Care Act assessment. Also, a part of that will be a carer assessment. The outcomes of that could be my life support plan, transition plans, or could be that we'll give you information advice. If the social worker assesses that your young person needs a care package, again, you come to the resource allocation panel. If it's urgent, it will be an auto panel decision. If it's not urgent, it will be to the resource panel and then commission service. As the child grows, or the young person grows into adult and is no longer education, and Simon will speak to you, but the education, health and care plan ceases, then we'll look at transferring your young person care, young adult case to the adult service, to the appropriate department. Once they have an allocated worker from us, it doesn't mean we'll continue to be allocated even beyond 25 or if they see until this case has been accepted by adult social care, if it meets the thresholds for them.
Okay, thank you.
In terms of OT service, so again, the child, if it's a child through the Brent front door pathway referrals, child contact comes to screening, waiting list, and then depending on that, kind of we'll do the OT report. If there is adaptation, we'll apply to housing under the DFG, and then we'll close the case. If it's about the provision of equipment, we'll go. If it's a young person or young adult, this will have to be done via customer service adult pathway. Okay. So
Yeah, absolutely.
this is a very brief. There is more to it, but I'm more than happy to take questions now for the next 10 minutes.
Okay. I am amazed at how much you got through there. It was very comprehensive, and just seeing how much you do, really. It's just so good to see that we have all this available. So I've just got things coming in now in the last minute or two. So Mina is saying it'll be useful to share the criteria for social care for each department. So
the criteria for my service, it's advertised in the local offer.
okay.
You go under the local offer under social care, the criteria is advertised there. So I think the first port of call, if your child got an educational health and care plan, go to the local offer. If you Google Brent local offer, that will come up. A local offer, it's a legal requirement which you have to maintain. Simon probably will speak more in his presentation around that, a bit more about that, but the local offer is the first poll. And the eligibility criteria for services and what we do as well is in the local offer under social care.
Yeah, I did mention the local offer at the beginning, and it's really lovely to hear our live speakers referencing it again, and the video of Tracy when it was flashing up there, because I think sometimes we just forget about it, and there is so much information in there that it's just ridiculous. So Mina, sorry,
is being reviewed as well as we speak to be more user friendly, and the Brent Parent Care Forum are contributing to that through parents. So parents have their voice in what the local authority does as well. So I think one of the issues with the local offer at the moment, but I'm not going to say here and say that he's right, is that it's a lot of wording, there's a lot of information, and sometimes it's difficult to find information. So they're working. What the council has done as well is that there is a brand new preparation for adulthood website. I don't know whether Simon is going to mention to take his show on, but there is a brand new preparation for adulthood website, which is more user friendly. It's been in with the young people, with parents.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's the Brent Youth Zone, isn't it? That's
correct.
I think sometimes the issue is, isn't it, that there's so much information, and you might be looking for sort of that one little bit, and you're sort of ploughing your way through to find it. That it's not always easy as perhaps it should be. And in the chat, we've got different departments of Brent chatting to each other, so that is just perfect. I'm going to leave them to get on with that. I've introduced them, I've started the ball rolling, but then you know everyone anyway. So hopefully, you know, you'll be able to get together virtually. Doesn't really matter, and just chat this out. I just feel that there is so much there. And you said it was okay that we share your slides, which is just great. And I think while we have quite a few attending now, there will be more that are coming in and catching up on it, having it with it being on our YouTube channel, and just having everything there that they can go through in their own time. Cup of tea in hand or whatever. It just makes it all so much easier, doesn't it, to understand how difficult it would be. What are we coming up with here? Oh, there's so much coming here. I'm going to leave that for others to read through. There's so much information, but we've got all that saved. They can catch up with all of that. There's nothing else.
It's a start, Jane. So.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what we're talking about, isn't it? Getting together even for the first time. I mean, this has been great for me because there's so many familiar faces, but new faces such as yourself, which we need to just keep in touch, keep all our services end up in this much bigger offer, doesn't it? The local offer for our young people. And that's what we're here for, isn't it? Just to help and support. I suspect that with the best will in the world, most of our parents and carers don't know how much that there is to be able to support them, and it's whether they phone us in the first instance, whether they contact us anywhere in Brent Civic, and it all filters down. All we can do is put out what's there and try and make sure that we spread the word and we take it from there.
No, that's great. And what I'll do as well, we've got what we call a short break coordinator who looks for activities that are available in the borough and the neighbouring boroughs. We share that information in the local offer with our parents that we work with through the forum. But I'll ask her, Jane, to include you in that email distribution list, so you get that information and then you can share
absolutely. That. Yes, please. Yes, please. I'm happy to receive emails from all professionals. Happy to help get you all together. Be nice just to sit and listen without having to wonder about all these other things that are going on. So I think it's been really, really useful today. And it's just the first step, perhaps, but we're getting there. And sometimes, as I've said before, to read the chat for everyone, but also not having to sort of come into Brent Civic sometimes to the actual face-to-face event. Some are just happier reading it, getting the information, and then moving it bit by bit. So thank you, Madame, for joining us. Simon, are you still with us? I believe he is. He's been answering questions. I take it he is.
I am.
Okay, thank you.
No
thank
problem,
you to everyone there. Thank you for all those questions. Simon, over to you.
Thank you. Right. Let me just share my screen.
Brilliant. There we are.
Okay. So I'll just introduce myself. My name's Simon Benson. I work at Brent SENAS, which is the Special Education Needs Assessment Service. I'm the post-16 transition officer. So basically I deal with cases where young people are aged usually around 16 all the way up to 25. So SENAS, what do we do? Well, we work closely with parents, schools, health and social care services to ensure that young people living with SEND get the most out of their school life and maximise their achievements. Our team's main responsibilities include things like carrying out education healthcare plan assessments. So that's when you initially apply for an EHCP. We get comments from all various professionals. We collate it all together, edit it and put it into an EHCP. We then identify and secure appropriate provision. What I mean by that is find an appropriate setting with which a young person can attend, and that might be a school, it might be a college, it might be some other form of education, so maybe tutoring or something along those lines. We make sure that all our young people have annual reviews, and where possible we attend them, but we can't always attend every single one. We have, I think, in excess of about 2,000, and if we had to attend every single annual review, we'd just be doing very little else. But we do try to attend them wherever possible, especially where there's a significant event happening, such as they're coming to the end of a placement or end of a key stage, that sort of thing. We also oversee the admission to special schools and colleges, mainstream schools and colleges for pupils with SEND. So what we do is a thing called a consultation, where we essentially apply for a place for your young person to go and attend a school or a college. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. We also give advice and information to parents, carers, schools, colleges and other organisations in relation to statutory SEND requirements and the local authority procedures relating to children and the Children and Families Care Act 2014. We provide advice on statutory requirements in relation to special educational needs. So things like if a school or a college calls up and says, we're finding this difficult, do you have any advice? We can signpost them, or we can, through our own experience, we can talk to them about what provision they might be able to put in place to help young people achieve further in their education. We also administer the SEND funding to support the schools and colleges, and we represent the council in appeal procedures and SEND tribunals, and of course mediation. I'll just say very quickly on that we rather go to mediation first, because I think we can often sort out differences of opinion and challenges to decisions in the mediation stage. I think that's really important to go through looking forward. Why do we do all of this? Because it does sound like an awful lot of work, but we do it because the team at Brent SENAS just genuinely genuinely have a passion to see young people living with SEND reach their goals and achieve their outcomes in education. In fact, most of the staff in SENAS are ex-teachers, so we've had, first-hand knowledge of dealing with young people with SEND, teaching young people with SEND. We're familiar with what schools are like from the coalface, so to speak. We want to support the journey into adulthood and improve their independence skills in line with their abilities, creating meaningful relationships with those around them and becoming valuable members of the community. The EHCP should be seen as a pathway to adulthood. It's something that facilitates learning, but it's also facilitating development and independence. So how we do it? Well, we look at a process called assess, plan, do, review. So initially we do assessments. So these are reports from various professionals, including an educational psychologist, GP or consultant, a SENCO from the school. That's a special education needs coordinator that all schools and colleges have. We take into account views from parents or carers, and social care are all consulted in the building up of an EHCP. If agreed by the assessment panel to proceed with an EHCP, one of the caseworkers within SENAS will draft the plan. The EHCP will include relevant information from all of the reports and identified provision. The provision is what we need to put in place to meet the needs, and that is generally suggested by medical or educational psychologists who come in and they identify what is needed. We then do that. So the consultations begin with educational settings. We send off a draft EHCP and we send off a letter that commits the education setting or college to respond within 15 days. And that's a requirement that they have to fulfill. So it just speeds up the application process. If they can meet the needs and provide the provision as set out in the EHCP, a suitable course is identified and the enrolment for that college or school can commence. And then, of course, we review. And at this point, we call it an annual review. It's arranged by the setting to look at progression towards the outcomes. These outcomes are set out like goals, and they're in the EHCP. And in the EHCP, we have progress steps to achieve those targets or goals. And we also list what the setting must do to help the young person reach those goals. And essentially, the annual review is a chance to look at the effectiveness of the provision, i.e. what the school or college is doing, and for all the people involved to sort of sit down and have a roundtable conversation and discussion about what's going well, what's maybe could be improved, has anything changed in the last 12 months or so. And it's really key at this point, really, to keep the young person's views at the center of this process. It's a person-centered approach, so we're doing things with the young person, not to the young person. So I've got a couple of examples. Example one, this is Amber. Amber was given her diagnosis of ASD, autistic spectrum disorder, about 3 years ago when she was 13. Since then, she has had an EHCP and has attended a mainstream school. Now she's finished year 11, it's time to think about what she wants to do next. Amber has always had an interest in cooking and told her careers advisor at school that she would love to pursue this as a job. Amber was helped to find a place on a college course which helped her develop her skills in the kitchen, along with maths and literacy. At the end of the course, Amber's college recommended she do what we call a supported internship so that she could experience the world of work in the real world. This special one-year program enabled Amber to boost her confidence in the workplace and apply for jobs at the end of the year. It gave hands-on experience with a mentor and 1 day a week at college to back up the practical skills she learned on the ground. The second example is Aria. Aria has a physical disability which makes moving around independently very difficult. She uses a specially adapted wheelchair and a special computer to help her communicate. She loves school and wants to continue developing her skills in an FE college. An FE college is a further education college. Aria thought long and hard about the things she wanted to do and decided that through her communication device, she was able to write short stories for others to enjoy. A course in literacy at college helped her gain the skills needed to improve her writing and bring her ideas to life on the page. Aria's dream is to get published either in print or online so more people can enjoy her work. With the strong educational grounding from the college and the assistance an EHCP has given her, her dreams may just be around the corner. So, preparing for adulthood. Preparing for adulthood consists of 4 main strands or subsects, if you like: independent living, employment, community inclusion, and health. The PFA section of an EHCP should demonstrate existing and newly gained strengths in addition to existing and any newly identified needs. This information should be gathered from the annual review discussions and supporting documentation from relevant professionals and, of course, the family and carers. PFA outcomes should, where possible, cover all of the 4 strands, and these outcomes should be SMART, by which I mean specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely defined. And they should have accompanying provision details to meet those outcomes. Now, preparing for adulthood is said to start at year 9, but actually we'd like to think of it as starting from reception going onwards. Our whole journey in life should be towards preparing for adulthood, to be preparing towards independence, and that starts as soon as we hit school. So although it does say on the plans from year 9, we are constantly, as a local authority, and schools and colleges are thinking very much the same now, that the building blocks for independence and adulthood should be put in place from the word go. To this end, Brent have, with considerable help from our young people, built a new website which gives advice and signposts other agencies who may be able to help as part of a PFA strategy. It's called the Brent Youth Zone, and its address is on the screen there. It's https://www.brentyouthzone.org.uk/PFA. It gives you loads of different information, things like activities, to ideas about being helpful, about things to help assist in living independently. It gives you access to options for training, further training or employment options, and also a sort of FAQ, frequently asked questions section. And what we did after you asked, sorry, just speeding through that. Okay, so supported internships. So Brent Council is a partner on 2 supported internships, the Charing Cross Hospital and the Brent Civic Centre. There are many, many, many more across North West London, and applications should be made through FE colleges. They include industries such as hospitality, hair and beauty, retail, construction, Transport for London, and of course, office administration. You can find further details at the Youth Zone website. Now, although so when education ends, SENAS also assists when young people leave education. Young learners have a few options going forward. They can either have a referral towards social care, which was mentioned earlier. This can be done via Brent's customer services or through the caseworker. And this can involve a day centre provision or a bespoke outreach package. There's also employment opportunities. Many colleges provide work placements as part of the course programme, leading to job opportunities at the end of the course. There are also volunteering opportunities in the community through an organisation called Brent Works, which is run by the local authority, and of course a local network of charitable organisations. It's important to note that while EHCPs occasionally continue to 25, the majority of EHCPs cease or stop before this, as the learner either progresses into employment, higher education, or social care provision. What we like to think of is that when you reach the end of further education, there's no point in reversing and going back into it, further education. It's time to progress and to challenge yourself and to move forwards. So ceasing EHCPs is carried out on a case-by-case basis. It's not done by a default age or anything like that. We look at each individual, their progression, where they are, what their next goal is, that sort of thing. So it's a very unique service to each and every learner who has an EHCP. Finally, SENAS and COVID-19. So we've been operating as normal throughout the entire pandemic. We still maintain our statutory timescales wherever possible. It's the whole team adopting a hybrid approach to work. So it means sometimes we're at home, sometimes we're in the office, and this is likely to continue in the same vein for the foreseeable future. Where possible, we do try to attend annual reviews, but as I mentioned earlier, we simply have so many, we'd be doing nothing else if we were just attending every annual review. And as I alluded to earlier, it's usually around transition points or the end of a placement, etc. All caseworkers can be contacted during office hours via their normal phone numbers and also respond to emails, although we do have a central number, which is 0208 937 3229, or you can email us at sen.assessments@brent.gov.uk. And I'm always around, and I can put my number in the chat and email address, so you can contact me for post-16 inquiries. And I guess any questions? Sorry, went through that very quickly, but happy to take questions.
Okay, thank you, Simon. A question that's just come through. It says, I know from my careers advisor, I can apply to more than one college. Do I have to hear back from you before I apply to more than one, or can I apply for 2 or 3 at the same time?
You can apply for 2 or 3 at the same time. If you ask us to apply for a college or school, we will follow your request, and we will consult with that school. So
Lovely.
whatever you wish us to consult with, we will.
Lovely. Now this question came in quite early, but I think really we've covered it almost. What other Brent departments do you work with?
I work, as Mirjan mentioned earlier, I work very closely with social care, because when people come to the end of their EHCPs, I want to make sure that the transition between full-time education and social care provision is as smooth as possible. So what we ask for is towards the last year of education, we have an early annual review, usually between September and January, February. And in that annual review, if we identify that social care is a possibility, then we would ask for a social worker to come and be present at that annual review, and so that we can make plans and there isn't a cliff edge situation at the end of the academic year.
Yes, excuse me. And I love the fact that you're saying let's start at birth to start planning things, because the earlier the better. There is just so much information out there, isn't it? And
yeah.
and it will change and be updated, and it will the needs for the individual young person will change as they get older as well, won't they?
Absolutely. It's a philosophy to bear in mind. I mean, we do it for ourselves, and it's time that we started doing it for others as well. So yes, just having that thought that we're preparing ourselves for adulthood constantly keeps us on our toes, I think.
I can remember a few years ago now, I was phoning someone when we were in the Roundwood office to attend branching out, and this parent said, well, we're only in year 10. And then in year 13 they said, oh, we're in year 13 now.
Absolutely.
And
it flies by, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just smiled and thought, nothing, I'm too professional. Okay, this one you have answered, but it came in earlier. It was saying, how long do I have to wait to hear if a college would be able to meet my daughter's needs?
Okay, so what normally happens is as soon as we send the consultation documents off, we give the college 15 days. That's 15 calendar days, not working days. So just over 2 days.
Okay, yeah.
And they need to get back to us with a provisional yes or no. There are only a couple of reasons legally that they can say no. It's a little bit complicated to go into right now, but there are only really a couple of reasons. They do tend to say yes more often than no. And then we look at from that period of time, then we can feed back to the parent and say whether or not the application has been successful.
Okay, thank you. I was speaking yesterday in our education day, and it explained a little bit about transport, and was saying that while this is part and parcel of everything, that transport could not be agreed until the parent had heard from the college. this, but everything just falls into place, hopefully, doesn't it?
It tends to, yes. I mean, there are certain eligibility criteria for Brent Transport Service. Again, it's probably not worth going into now. It's not specifically my area of expertise, and I don't know what the criteria are, so I wouldn't want to give out any wrong information. But an assessment is done for eligibility for transport, and if successful, then there's a minibus that is provided by the council to take learners from their homes to the college or school and back home again at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
But that's a separate entity. It's not run by SENAS or social care. It's run by a separate entity called Brent Transport Service. And they do their own risk assessments and assessments. So they set the eligibility and so on and so forth.
Okay, thank you for pointing that out. I think people get a little bit confused. It also comes under the Brent umbrella, but there are the different areas within that. Okay, and again, it seems that we're all saying the same things. The local offer, the Brent Youth Zone, all the departments that we've had today really are just saying the same things, aren't we? That, you know, get to us early. We all may have specialisms, but we also just pull together to get the best possible outcome for the young person and the family that's involved.
Yes, I think the phrase "joined up working" or "joined up thinking" is very much a part of what we do at Brent. And you know, when we talk to one another, the idea that you only have to tell your story once is really important to us at Brent. You don't have to just keep repeating everything time and time again. So communication between our departments is really key, and we're working constantly to try and improve that. Hopefully it'll work out well for our users.
That's it. And I think if they have to repeat the story, which is their story, it's much better to have told it once and to add to that, than to repeat and forget things that perhaps haven't happened for a while or seemed important then. But let's add to that information, have it all there, forget as little as possible, build to it, and then take it from there.
Which is also the purpose of the annual review, because it's building on the information already contained in the EHCP.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Simon. Thank you for being able to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, excuse me, not at all. We have one more presentation to share with you today. That's from the Inclusion Project. So if I could say to Tony, if he could put this up. So the Inclusion Project, unfortunately, are unable to join us live, but they have sent their presentation through and a little video through, and really I'm going to let that play out. They will tell you much more than I could possibly. So let's have a look at this. Thank you, Tony. So the Inclusion Project, it's an award-winning, and I can't say these words, innovative initiative. Who put all that together? Good grief. But it's there to help and support. So what can happen with Inclusion Project is it's a pay-for service, and you can do that through all your all the different payments that you can receive. We will be having more tomorrow on payments. We've got the Job Centre Plus, and also Brent Start, and Simon was talking about Brent Start a little bit earlier. So again, everyone's pulling together to give this. What the Inclusion Project can do is to meet with your young people. They can pick them up from home, and they can have a morning's activity, they can have a full day, they can have lunch. So details of who. So the young people aged 18 to 30, with learning disabilities, when Monday to Saturday, and evening programmes, and all areas covered by HA, is that Harrow, and Northwest postcodes, Wembley, Harrow, Pinner, Edgware, Mill Hill and Wilson. And there's all their excuse me, contact details. But the ratio of young people to support, the transport details and costs. And let's watch their latest campaign video. With you in a moment, I'm sure. It's getting there.
Where would we be? Once lost in society, but as time progressed, so did we, found the key to unlocking a gateway to new possibilities, disabling prejudice, enabling a brighter future, integrating our people into a national community. Someone once said to me, is there nowhere else you can take them? Them. How trivial. That is institutionalizing them to be left out of the locality, thus generating further sensitivity when desensitizing the public's eye and view is what we are ultimately trying to achieve. Gradually breaking down barriers to provide fun, variety, growth and independence where the inclusion projects progression and positivity. It's evident to see as this family of equality and diversity thrives and develops on a daily. You see, segregation is a thing of the past, an idle system, obsolete rhythm. No longer will you twiddle those thumbs and grow tired of being stuck in the same old drum where regression is the repercussion. It is time to dance to your own beat. The kingdom is your oyster, and you now have the power to create your own world with true flexibility. Come rain or shine, day or night, I am, they are, we are here to help you exercise your right, freedom of choice. Be still, make noise, one-on-one, socialise, be active in using your own initiative. Forward is the motion. This all may be hard to digest. I know, it's a big step, but we aren't going anywhere. Stability is our notion. Here, there and everywhere, there are hundreds already participating. So why wait? Get creating.
Wow, that was quite powerful, wasn't it? I haven't any questions come in yet for the inclusion project, but if anyone would like to contact us, we can pass any questions on to them, and all their contact details are available. So yeah, please contact us to get to them, or contact direct. Okay, just left with me now to go back to my little slides and finish off. So that's where we've been, branching out. Third day tomorrow. Third day tomorrow, please join us. We had a selection of speakers, which covered such a huge array of information that I hope it hasn't been too much for you, but if it has, that's the reason obviously that we're recording this, and you can join it at your leisure and take out the information that is more pertinent to you and your young person. These, I did show this at the beginning, but this is the Brent offer, which we have heard of a number of times today, which is really pleasing to me because it's showing that we're all working to the same framework just to help and support you and your young people.
Jane, sorry, can you reshare your slides for us?
Oh Lord. Okay, sorry. It told me it was doing it all and it wasn't. Great, let's try this again. That's telling me it's sharing. Is it sharing? I don't think it is. Okay.
Just waiting for it to load.
Mine can take ages. Let's try again. Right, are we there?
Yep, that's it. Thanks, Jane.
Okay, so sorry about that. But really what we just have to say is that we're all working from the same principle, all within Brent, all with the Brent local offer, and all with the Brent Youth Zone. We at Connexions, we are there for you and your young people 16 to 19 up to 24 with the learning difficulty. But as Simon was saying, really for the EHCP as young as possible, really think about the future and perhaps push your boundaries to think about just how far your young person could go. We've heard today about starting from zero, if you like, to look at this transition timing, but also we've heard about those at university that were helped by support from in Brent. So there is the huge array of everything that your young person could be doing. We within Brent can help with, as it says here, the education, employment, the apprenticeships. It would be more likely for the majority of our young people within EHCP that we're looking more with the supported internships. That was touched upon yesterday by the colleges, touched upon today by our speakers, and that's something else we're going to look at tomorrow as well. So tomorrow again from 1 until 3, and we have MenCap talking about their supported internships, and Shaw Trust mentioning theirs as well. Okay. I've tried my slideshow, it's not happy, so we'll just do it this way, I'm afraid. So as we've said before, Brent Connexions dotted throughout the borough, community centres, libraries, wellbeing centres, and we have the main office within College of North West London. Please always phone to book an appointment. It just saves you being disappointed if you have to wait, if people are there before you. It just makes things a little bit easier. And it could be that if there's a certain time and day that you would like to meet with us and for whatever reason that's not possible, then we can signpost you in the meantime and agree to meet you at some other time. Just to finish off by saying that tomorrow, as I say, we're meeting from 1 till 3 on the 3rd of December for our third branching out transition. And tomorrow we'll have talks from Brent Start, Job Centre Plus, MenCap, and the Shaw Trust supported internships. So I'm going to say thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your questions. And if you have any more questions, please just contact us and we will help and support when we can. And I'll just finish off with our number, and that's 0208 438 1650. But some of you may have worked with me in the past from my SEND or from my Woodfield. You know my number, you know my email address. Please just drop us a line, give us a call, and we'll help and support all we can. Thank you all for your time. Goodbye.